Now that I have 2 kids, I feel like I have a lot of tips and tricks to share with you about baby, toddler, and kid clothing organization, both in the closet and in the dresser. So let's get into it. To start off with, it's going to help a lot if you have a capsule wardrobe for your kids, if you have a smaller inventory in terms of the amount of clothing that you have. I am a terrible example of this, as I'm sure you can already see from our baby's closet. He has a ton of clothing. Now 90% or so of this is probably hand-me-downs. We have gotten as gifts a few new things. I've also been excited to have another baby and purchase new things. But in general, when it comes to organization and keeping your home tidy and maintaining things, number one is always decluttering and living with less. That's the best tip and trick that I can give you. But beyond that, let's talk about some things you can do when you actually have a fair amount of stuff. So what we have in the closet here, especially for a baby, this applies to other kids, toddler age as well, even older kids if you're gonna have some clothing that they're ready to grow into, and you need to differentiate between sizes. I have little closet dividers here. There are sets that you can purchase on Amazon. You could make your own and customize them and label them. The sets that you can purchase typically go from a newborn age to 24 months. So that's the period you really want to have labels and organize exactly what size is what, because they're moving through things so quickly. And this is just how I do it in my baby's closet. Even if you don't have dividers or labels, in my toddler's closet, the way that I do it is the bottom shelf is everything that's his current size, and then I have room up higher, and that is everything that is going to be in the next size up. So I know that that stuff's kind of waiting in the wings for us, and my husband knows the same thing, that if we're gonna get him dressed in the morning, that we just pull from the bottom rack. But again, in our baby's closet, because he has less in each size, all of the stuff is divided with those labels. When it comes to hangers, I have been obsessed with these hangers that I found. There are a few different colors that you can purchase, and I'll link these and anything else that I mentioned in the description box below. And the other thing that I really like about them is they seem to fit from the newborn stage all the way through my toddler, and they are still kind of fitting his bigger clothing. So I think they last quite a while, but they do have a size option for a little bit of a wider size. If you have kids that are past the toddler stage, you can get these hangers as well. Velvet hangers are always great because they are a slimmer profile, meaning you can fit more in your closet. Clothing typically doesn't slip off the ends. And what I do is I buy just shirt hangers, and I buy extra clips that I can put on the shirt hangers and hang pants there as well. That way I don't have to buy separate shirt hangers and pants hangers, and things are really versatile because kids' clothing is ever evolving and changing. I don't want to be committed to X number of shirt hangers and Y number of pants hangers and not be able to switch things around. The way that I choose what goes hanging in the closet and what is folded in the dresser is mostly the nicer clothing. Of course, I am going to put on hangers. As my kids get older, the amount of nicer clothing kind of varies. My toddler now has some button-down shirts. My baby has a couple of like nicer two-piece outfits. Those I will hang up. It also depends on the amount of storage you have in either place. If you have more hanging storage, utilize that, take advantage of it. As opposed to having more dresser storage, you'll probably need to fold more clothing. I also prefer to hang clothing, so I opt to add more stuff into the closet when I can, just because when I'm putting away laundry, I like to hang stuff more than I like to fold stuff. So if you're somebody that likes to fold stuff, then maybe utilize the dresser a little bit more. And the other thing I like to put in my closet a lot of times are some of those matching sets. Even if they're sweatsuits, then they're more casual, I still like to put those in the closet oftentimes. One of the things that makes kids' clothing organization so difficult is what I've already alluded to, the fact that there is clothing that's going to be too big for them, waiting for them, and there's going to be a lot of clothing that they're going to grow out of very quickly. So you need to have a solution in place for both items that are too big and too small. So talking about clothing that's too big, I already mentioned that I have some of the hand-me-downs in my baby's closet hanging up here. I also have some space in his dresser for the next size. I do that for my toddler as well, which I'll show you in a minute so you can get a look at that. But those things are usually the next size or the next couple of sizes at the most. If we have other hand-me-downs that are way too big, for example, my kids are 2 years apart. So for our baby, I'm not going to start hanging in 2T clothing when he's 3 months old in his closet or in his dresser. That's just way too far away for me to be doing that. So I do have big clear plastic totes that I utilize. Once my child is done with a size of clothing, I load it up and put it in there. And so some of those things I'm not going to start putting into our baby's room and just overwhelming him with stuff. I'm going to leave those in the bins until he gets a little bit closer to those sizes. So that's pretty much what I do with the clothing that's too big. Now, clothing that's too small, you'll see I have a bin right here that says too small. This one is overflowing. I actually will have a video on my Sophisticated Motherhood channel where I am packing this up and showing you exactly what I do with clothing that's too small and how I'm handling hand-me-downs, packing this up and chatting. So make sure you're subscribed to that channel, and I will link that video as well if you are interested in watching. But having a too small bin in your kid's room is going to help so much if you're not already doing this. The second you put on an outfit and you're thinking to yourself, should I really send my child out the door with this? Is it too small? Or a lot of times I put it on him and I'm like, okay, this is the last time he's wearing this. This is getting really small on him. Once I wash it, I stick it in the too small bin, and once the too small bin is full, then I'm going to move it to those plastic tubs that I mentioned and organize those by size. But the too small bin really helps eliminate those weekends or days that you have to spend going through your kids' clothing and pulling out everything that no longer fits them and bringing in things that now fit them. If you have this cycle of just shifting things in and out as they go on a daily basis, it's going to make it so much easier for you, trust me. There are a couple of different ways you can handle your dressers for kids. I do them 2 different ways, but regardless of the way that I do it, I always file fold my clothing. That is the style of folding you see right here, where everything is folded upright. That way I can easily grab what I'm looking for. Things aren't stacked on top of each other, so when I'm pulling something out, the whole pile doesn't topple over. Everything stays upright, nice and neat. I have these white spring-loaded drawer dividers in here. These ones also have an option to add in a middle divider. If you have multiple sections you want to divide up, you can do it that way, which is really helpful for kids' clothing and baby clothing in particular. The other thing that I've done for baby organization, because like I've been saying, those sizes are switching out so quickly, is I have been labeling what each row is, as well as labeling the side of the drawer. So the side of the drawer, I'm saying what size clothing it is, 3 to 6 month clothing, 6 to 9 month clothing, whatever the case might be. And then I am labeling whether it's zippered sleepers, I have snap and footless sleepers, separates, socks, hats, all of those things, because especially in the newborn stage, I want to know exactly what I'm grabbing. And some of these little sleeper type outfits, if they don't have zippers on them, I am not going to be using them in the middle of the night. I want to have zippers and 2-way zippers. I don't want to be dealing with snaps. So it really is important for me and my husband to know what we're grabbing without having to pull all of the clothing out and inspect each and every outfit. A couple more things I want to mention in my son's dresser is the way that I organize for older kids, and especially because he does have a little bit of extra space in his dresser, I can do this. I have dedicated the top to his current clothing. I always like to put things like pajamas, socks, and underwear at the top. So that's what his drawer is up here, his pajamas. And then I also have, he is still using some pull-ups right now, so you could have some pull-ups or diapers up there, as well as some underwear. And then I have chosen to organize by season. Over on the left, I have his winter clothing, long sleeve pants, and long sleeve tops. And then on the right-hand side, I have his short sleeve tops and shorts and swimsuits. I prefer to do it that way, and we're kind of just focused in one section, picking out a top and bottom that go together and you're in the same drawer. The other reason I do it that way, as opposed to having one drawer for tops and one drawer for bottoms, is because a lot of times kids clothing, especially toddler and baby clothing, there are really cute, adorable sets where there's a top and bottom that go together. So if that top and bottom set, if they're a shortened t-shirt, then they go on the more summer side. If it's a long sleeve top and bottom, then I put them on the other side, and don't have to have them separated or debate which side they go to if you have tops on one side and bottoms on the other. I know this might seem kind of silly, but it really helps me to organize that way, have everything in one drawer, and sort by season. Then below, I have 2 extra drawers that he is not currently using. I have one of them open right now, and this is the drawer where I keep things that are way too big for him. And then in the other drawer over here is all of the clothing that is his next size up. So currently he's in a size 2T, that's in these two drawers. Then down there is 3T, and everything in here is 4T and up. And I mentioned that there is a different way that I sort his clothing and a different way that I use organizers. I found these expandable organizers, which are really great. They pull all the way out. It's kind of hard to do while I'm holding it, but they fit his drawers perfectly because they expand, and the dividers are great for kids' clothing. They sell them in a few different sizes, a few different expandable options, and different color schemes as well. And the other thing I want to mention about his dresser that applies to whether it's folded clothing or other clothing is to have a plan for holiday themed clothing. Whether you have a bin that you like to store as backstock of all of your holiday clothing, label it as holiday. That way when it's Valentine's Day or Christmas or Hanukkah or Easter, or whatever it might be, then you can bring out that themed clothing. Maybe Halloween costumes could go in there as well. Or what I do is, because I paid a lot of money for even his holiday themed clothing, especially when it comes to pajamas, it's just us at home. I don't care if he's wearing a skeleton and it's July, or he has turkey pajamas and it's the middle of the summer. It doesn't matter to me, but I do have them sorted and organized. All of his holiday themed pajamas are on this side, as well as his short sleeve pajamas. So it's kind of like the seasonal section. And then the other side of the drawer is just his regular pajamas that he wears all the time. I do the same thing with hanging clothing. I keep all of the holiday themed clothing that's hanging at the back end of that size of clothing. So like I mentioned with our toddler, all of the clothing that fits him right now is on that bottom shelf. At the very back of it, that's where I keep his Halloween clothing or any other holiday themed clothing. The other thing I have to share in my older son's closet is that I keep stain remover next to his laundry bin. This might seem like a little bit of an unexpected clothing hack, but I'm telling you, having your stain remover here as opposed to in your laundry space is going to help you get those stains as they're going into the laundry basket. It's going to help give it time for the stains to work. Because I don't know about you, we just toss things in there, and if I don't stain treat them right away, I forget that they had stains on them. I do not want to go through my kids' clothing as I load it one item at a time into the washing machine.